Zhang Yi was discussing the plan with his team when he heard a knock on the outside of the vehicle. Turning around, he recognized Xingtian, an old schoolmate. "What's up?" Zhang Yi asked. Xingtian slowly replied, "Everyone is busy setting up the defenses. We don't know when the zombies will arrive, so you should also get familiar with the surroundings quickly." Zhang Yi chuckled. "You really care, don't you?" "Not exactly," Xingtian said, looking off towards the area his team was responsible for defending. "I prepared everything. We can't afford to lose this battle." Suddenly, he showed a flash of irritation. "Damn it. I hope that brat Bian Junwu doesn't pull any tricks on us." Zhang Yi sighed and gave him a light pat on the shoulder. "Do your best. Right now, it seems like we don't have any other choice but to trust them." He and the team got out of the vehicle and began to familiarize themselves with the surroundings. Baishui sect was a special operations team, and they needed to be ready to support any weaknesses at a moment's notice, so they needed to understand each area where they would be deployed depending on the battlefield situation. Zhang Yi identified the best defensive position, an abandoned commercial building next to the Grand Hall, over 100 meters tall and right in the center of Baishui sect's area. From there, he could observe from above and use his abilities to protect a 3.5 kilometers radius. To deal with the zombies, he had also asked Luke Karen to manufacture new ammunition for him. Although this ammunition had low penetration power, it would completely destroy the zombies upon detonation. After all, the defense of ordinary zombies wasn't very high, much like frozen meat. Using a large-caliber sniper rifle combined with explosive rounds, he could easily handle them on his own. To deal with armored zombies, he had also equipped a type of large-caliber ammunition specifically designed to penetrate armor. From his elevated position, Zhang Yi could also easily command Liang Yu and his combat team. Winning this battle would be ideal, but if they didn't win, they would need to quickly assess the battlefield situation to retreat in time. Zhang Yi headed towards the abandoned skyscraper with the intention of setting up at the top. However, several members of Baishui sect's special operations team were extremely vigilant and prevented Zhang Yi from entering the building. "This is a restricted area of Baishui sect. Please leave," one of the special operatives said coldly. "Restricted area?" Zhang Yi smiled, finding the term a bit amusing. "Have you read too many martial arts novels? Baishui sect was only established a few months ago. This commercial building was unrelated to you before, so how has it become a restricted area now?" The operative replied, "We are not at liberty to explain, Mr. Zhang. Please do not make things difficult for us." Zhang Yi and his team immediately sensed that something unusual was going on in the skyscraper. The attitude of these special operatives was very firm. They were not allowing Zhang Yi and his team to approach the building. However, the more they were obstructed, the more curious Zhang Yi became. But right now, he didn't want to cause a conflict due to his curiosity, so he just smiled and said, "All right, we'll move on to another place." This area is a shopping district with numerous high-rise buildings, so selecting another building isn't a major issue. However, this had sparked Zhang Yi's curiosity. He had always enjoyed uncovering others' secrets, as they could reveal potential weaknesses. Zhang Yi chose a neighboring skyscraper and began the arduous climb to the rooftop, ascending more than 30 floors and panting heavily. If he hadn't been regularly training, he might have been as exhausted as Xu Chunlei, who had given up halfway through his climb. Uncle Vu remarked, "Why don't you use the dual space gate to move through space? Climbing each step is so troublesome." Zhang Yi grinned, "When no one is watching, I'll use the dual space gate to move. But such abilities shouldn't be flaunted too easily." Uncle Vu sighed, "You're really cautious." Even with the major forces cooperating, Zhang Yi remains vigilant. From the highest floor of the building, Zhang Yi confirmed that his choice was correct. From this vantage point, he could cover a 3.5 kilometers radius, which provided a significant advantage for sniping. In this range, he could eliminate blind spots and fire upon any location. At the very least, he could cover all 4 defensive lines on the outer perimeter. "Alright, I'll stay here for defense. You all stay inside this building. If we don't need to engage at the front lines, we can be flexible." After confirming the hiding spot, Zhang Yi and his team descended from the rooftop and returned to the snowmobile to rest. They wanted to maintain their stamina in a comfortable environment to ensure they were in the best condition. Compared to others, their food was also quite abundant. This was an advantage of having a space-based ability user in the team. Although other major forces also carried supplies, they mostly had rations or canned food. They melted snow for water and used an aluminum stove to heat their food. In contrast, the more than 5,000 followers of the Baishui sect had a much worse food situation, with people eating rat meat and saving every meal. After meeting Zhang Yi, Li Jian quickly left. On his way back, he was somewhat distracted, wavering on whether to reveal what he knew to Zhang Yi. He also wanted to ask Zhang Yi to help his family escape. However, after careful consideration, he abandoned the idea, realizing Zhang Yi wasn't someone who would offer help without a reason. In this world, only oneself could ensure fairness, and no one else was truly trustworthy. Li Jian returned home to find that although Li Kale's wounds had healed, his spirits were very low. He had lost the essential confidence of a man. The once vibrant and cheerful youth was now despondent. This deeply worried Li Jian and his wife, Zhang Jianfang. When Li Jian arrived home, he saw Zhang Jianfang with a worried expression. The room faintly smelled of urine. Li Jian approached and asked quietly, "Did he use the toilet in the tent?" Zhang Jianfang pulled her husband aside and whispered, "Since that incident, using the toilet has become difficult for him." Li Jian sighed, "In this situation, just staying alive is a blessing. I don't expect him to carry on the family line. I hope he overcomes it soon." Li Jian stood outside the tent, thinking, even if Baishui sect made my son like this, it wouldn't make a difference if we did more. Maybe I should try contacting Zhang Yi. On the first day, no zombies appeared near the Baishui sect area. Their team left a contingent on guard duty, taking turns during the night to be ready for any potential zombie attacks. The rest of the team began to rest, and time passed into the middle of the night. Zhang Yi, resting in the vehicle, suddenly opened his eyes and sat up. The snoring of Uncle Vu and Shu Chunlei grew louder next to him. Zhang Yi pulled up the window curtain and looked outside cautiously. Even though it was midnight, there were still patrols in the military area, but most people were resting. Particularly, the high-rise building that was off-limits to outsiders was heavily guarded. After the major forces had concentrated, Baishui sect had also reinforced the protection of that area, making Zhang Yi more certain that something strange was going on. Zhang Yi's snowmobile was parked right in front of the building he had chosen. After assessing the distance, Zhang Yi opened the dual space gate and moved directly from the snowmobile into the large building. He activated his tactical optical glasses to observe the opposite skyscraper. Inside was complete darkness, with every window blocked by something, making it look like a concrete coffin. Zhang Yi grew curious, wondering what could be hidden inside. Knowing there was a big secret right next door and having the ability to see through obstacles, Zhang Yi couldn't resist the urge to uncover the truth. After some thought, he decided to use the dual space gate to pass through to the skyscraper. He concluded that although there were guards inside, they couldn't be on the higher floors all the time. Even though he saw mutants and others coming and going, they only stayed briefly before moving some carts outside. Zhang Yi guessed that this place could be their treasury. If he could discover something valuable, why not go see it? A mischievous smile appeared on Zhang Yi's lips. The distance between the two buildings was less than 300 meters, so Zhang Yi decided to go directly through. In an instant, he moved through another door and appeared in an abandoned room of the skyscraper. The darkness did not affect him thanks to his tactical optical glasses with excellent night vision. Zhang Yi looked around and was immediately surprised to find that the room before him was overrun by vines and branches. Even the ground beneath his feet was covered in vines. He thought to himself, is this the secret of the forbidden area of Baishui sect? What are these plants for? What is their purpose? Are they for providing food, or do they serve another function? Zhang Yi pondered. This was the first time he had seen such gigantic and peculiar plants. Considering that dogs and cats could also grow large, it wasn't too surprising that plants with potentially infinite growth could exist. Zhang Yi was prepared to escape at any moment using his dual space gate ability. Nothing could stop him from fleeing. Although the exact nature of what he was seeing was unclear, he was determined to uncover the truth. He felt this was a significant secret of Baishui sect and a great opportunity to seize it. Zhang Yi drew his sword and activated his ability to enhance his speed and reflexes eightfold. He advanced step by step, finding the entrance to the office blocked by vines. He thought carefully, this mysterious plant is obviously related to abilities, it's better not to touch it with my hands. After some thought, he decided to use his sword to cut through the vines and enter through the gap. As he stepped out, Zhang Yi was startled and exclaimed, "Is this a world tree?" The center of the skyscraper had turned into a gigantic crater, with the corridor beneath him destroyed more than halfway, leaving only about a meter of space to stand. However, in a moment, Zhang Yi forgot about the precarious footing as he saw a colossal green plant stretching from the deepest part of the skyscraper up through the highest floors. Zhang Yi thought about a type of gigantic plant he had once known, and it was clear that the plant before him was not that type. Even though the world had seen even larger trees, Zhang Yi knew this gigantic plant was certainly mutated and had grown to this size in just a few months. He thought, this was the right decision. Zhang Yi hesitated a bit. There was no doubt he had discovered a major secret of Baishui sect. But the question was whether to continue investigating or withdraw to avoid danger. Zhang Yi swallowed nervously, wondering if the mutated plant was aggressive, and he was careful not to make any noise. If discovered, it might lead Baishui sect to confront him. But would Baishui sect dare to risk their lives against him at such a critical moment? He observed his surroundings meticulously and decided not to miss this opportunity. He approached and picked 2 bright red fruits from the branch. As he picked them, he carefully watched the reaction of the giant plant. Noticing nothing unusual, Zhang Yi felt somewhat reassured. He then cut a few branches and picked some leaves, storing them in his spatial ability for further study. Seeing nothing unusual happening, Zhang Yi looked up at the wall covered with numerous white, spherical cocoons hanging down. Zhang Yi felt a bit scared, wondering if there might be some large insects inside. Humans often have an instinctual aversion to insects, and if these were large insects emerging covered in green slime, he might lose his appetite entirely. Gritting his teeth, Zhang Yi decided he should still check it out. He walked closer, muttering to himself, "I had to see it through." Without stopping, he proceeded down the ruined corridor to a cocoon nest, using his sword to cut the branch it was hanging from and successfully retrieving it into his spatial ability. After completing this step, Zhang Yi decisively decided to leave the abandoned building through the dual space gate. As he left, he thought to himself, fortunately, everything went smoothly. He didn't rush to study the object he had just acquired, as he was no expert in the field. Zhang Yi returned to the vehicle and pretended to rest, but he couldn't sleep a wink throughout the night. Time passed, and Zhang Yi carefully observed any movements from Baishui sect. He wanted to see if his actions had been discovered, but everything at Baishui sect continued as usual, with nothing out of the ordinary. Zhang Yi felt somewhat reassured. The next morning, Bian Junwu called their team to gather at the back of the Grand Hall to discuss the situation. The sudden halt in the zombies' actions meant they had either retreated or had become aware of human movements and were silently planning something. Zhang Yi also spoke up, "We can't ignore the possibility that the intelligence of the zombies' kings might be higher than we thought." Xiao Hanlian frowned, showing her displeasure. "The intelligence of these monsters seems unbelievably high. If a human were directing them, I believe it more. If they don't show up, are we just supposed to stand here forever?" Bian Junwu, with arms crossed, asked calmly, "Have you received any news from other bases?" Everyone shook their heads. Zhang Yi suddenly had an idea and looked towards Bian Junwu. "It's not just that other bases are unusually quiet. Although we've switched to covert operations, there's still ground surveillance. However, we haven't detected any activity from the zombie group. Could this situation be because you've killed a zombie king? The existence of a zombie king is quite special. It's like the heart of the zombies. When a zombie king dies, the surrounding zombies lose their order. It can now be concluded that there are many types of intelligent zombie kings in Tianhai City, not just one. Perhaps there is a special link between them. Killing one zombie king might have made the other zombie kings more cautious." Bian Junwu's face remained expressionless as he calmly addressed everyone. "This is only the beginning. The zombie group might still be observing. What we need to do is be patient. This is like fishing. Let's see who is more patient, the fisherman or the fish."